Isidore, let me go ahead and get you out of here. We got another call here. I don't know who this is, but thanks a lot for the call on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. All right.
Y'all. Have a good night.
All right. I don't know who this is. Welcome to the evolution. Your name and where you calling from? Okay.
Well, that was that bill collector. That was the guy trying to give you your Rolex.
No. Right. That's not who it was at all. You idiot. We're on the Sports Web live on NSPN. I love St. Pete. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with
Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Welcome to the Sports Web.
How's it going?
How are you doing? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Marcos calling from Miami.
Okay, Marcos, what do you have to say about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or do you want to talk about something else?
No, I was looking at something else.
All right, what do you want to talk about?
Thanks for calling the 1-900 number. My name is Harry. How are you?
Would you shut up and be quiet? Shut up! You're calling a sports talk show. You know that, right? So what do you want to talk about, Marcos?
I was looking to call out Peter.
This is Peter.
Marcos, Jake Paul's assistant.
Oh, are you serious?
Told you.
Wait, is this live right now?
This is live right now. This is crazy. This is
This is crazy.
Yes, it is.
Told you.
Wow. Okay,
Sorry.
so let's welcome to the evolution. I swear to God, we did not plan this, but of course the story was about the Rolex situation. Jake Paul, I interviewed him, asked him a question about Rolexes being given to fighters. And he said, you know what? Do you want one? And I said, yeah, sure. Not thinking he was going to do that. So
that's crazy. I just got your contact from Nikisa, Jake's manager.
Okay.
I wanted to follow up. So we have Rolex ready to go. And I was calling you to contact you what the best shipping address was. So whenever you get the chance.
I'll tell you what, Peter, why don't you go ahead and take that, make me full screen, pull yourself out. I'll go ahead and talk to the audience. It'll take you less than a minute. And I think that's awesome.
I think it is awesome too. Thank you very much for calling. Let me go ahead and get to you. Harry, let me go full screen here. Stand by. going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television here live on Amped Up Sports. I love St. Pete in the Hub. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off this show as we always do here on a happy
Hump Day
edition? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. So it's been a little while since we've been here. Thanks a lot for all the happy birthday greetings. Appreciate it. Unfortunately, the Bucs did not come through with what they were supposed to do, which is beat the Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll talk about it. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers fall to the Chiefs 41-31. We'll have Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire from 1252 Chicago Sports, giving his analysis on this game. Other news, Cole Beasley retires. What? Really?
What?
He's already retired, so we'll talk about that. Possibly a receiver that could be in the mix at this point that we may get to if we have time. And then, of course, I want to take your phone calls, as always. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. A little bit later on, we'll have the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini of XM Sirius Radio, former XPW announcer, talking about around the NFL, giving a national perspective, some baseball. Congratulations to Aaron Judge in 62. In my opinion, the real record. We can get into that if you like to. And, of course, the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. And as always, your phone calls. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Also, Tom Brady and Giselle. Looks like they're headed for a divorce. How is that going to affect him? I was thinking about it. We'll talk about that just a little bit. I'll tell you what, though. Let's get to this guy right here. Let's get his intro music on. Here we go. Handicapper extraordinaire at 1252 Chicago Sports, and my co-host here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, Mr. Harry the Greek. Welcome. How you doing tonight, my friend? Long time no see, as celebrating the birthday. Didn't get a chance to get together on Sunday. Very busy. You must have been very busy with all the picks. Welcome to the Sports Web.
Hey, Peter, thank you so much for having me on. How are you doing tonight? And by the way, happy birthday.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It would have been a lot happier if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would have taken care of business. But I think the most disappointing aspect, and people want to point to Tom Brady not playing well, I don't know what they were looking at. Over 300 yards of passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. But the defense was the biggest letdown. Being in there in person at Raymond James Stadium, I was quite disappointed. Look, at the end of the day, you never expect this team to shut out an offensive juggernaut like Patrick Mahomes and, of course, the Chiefs. But at the end of the day, you expect a better effort, and you cannot allow a team to go over 150 yards of rushing. The staple of this team is to stop the rushing attack, and they were not able to do that. Furthermore, they were not able to stop this team on third down conversions.
Hey, look, even the 1985 Chicago Bears had some letdowns, okay? I mean, you and I were just talking about that from before.
Sure.
Can't give up on this defense. Okay, you're missing Akeem Hicks. There's a lot of depth on this team. Defensively, they just didn't have a really good game. But let's really call it what it is. The game started out on a sour note when White fumbled the ensuing kickoff.
Correct.
Let's just go from there. You already gave him a short field. And you and I talked about this prior, okay, in your last episodes and your shows on how to beat Kansas City in that game. And it was you had to control the ball and play defense. Well, when you automatically had to come out and start throwing the football with a very porous offensive line, and I don't want to talk about PFF grades because you can wipe your ass with those as far as I'm concerned, okay? This offensive line is putrid right now, okay? You're hurting at center, left guard, left tackle. You can't stop anybody. But as the season progresses, it's going to get a lot better. But you can't throw the ball 50-plus times like they did and expect to beat a team like Kansas City. I'm sorry. But He didn't have a good game. He threw for 385 yards. He had 3 touchdowns and no picks, but he was running for his life on quite a few plays. I mean,
Sure.
let's just be real. I mean, it's just not the way you do it. As far as rushing's concerned, how many rushing yards were there, sir? Think about this.
There are 3 yards of rushing, and that's not
How
going to
about
get
3
done.
yards?
3
There you
yards.
go.
That's it. Yeah.
And then you lose by 10 points. 10 whole points.
Right.
And you gave up 7 automatically. It's not the end of the world. It was actually a good loss. Get it out of the way. They're 2-2. They're in a bad division. They can go on this magical run.
They can, and they got to get healthy. And again, I get it. They're getting back Godwin and Julio Jones. Jones has been largely ineffective either because he's seen his best days. I kind of assume that he's hurt at this point. Only 1 catch for 7 yards. Chris Godwin was kind of back to his old self. Mike Evans doing Mike Evans things. And you're exactly right, the offensive line. And when this defense did stand up and get a stop, somebody didn't pick up the blitzer, and Tom Brady paid for it. In fact, according to Sports Illustrated, now he has a minor rotator cuff injury, so added on to another injury. And then, of course, we heard the reports this week that him and his wife Giselle have retained their divorce lawyers. So what do you make of the Brady situation? What did you see from him the other night besides the offensive line? Do you feel like he still does have something left in the tank?
It's Tom Brady. You want to talk about the divorce? I'll be more than happy to get into that. You
Right.
want to talk about? Now,
Well,
let me ask you a question.
We can.
Do you want a politically correct statement, or do you want what Harry the Greek is thinking?
No, I mean, I want you to say what you feel, because here's my thing. At the end of the day, I get it. It's a personal matter, but there's some certain way I feel about it. She knows coming in that he's a football player. He's the greatest of all time. We don't know. We're not privy to the information of what he promised her, because that's what we hear the argument is over, that he was supposed to retire. But at the end of the day, if you're with somebody, no matter if it's 13, 20, 23, 26 years, and this is coming from a single guy, so I'm going to go ahead and put that disclaimer out there. If somebody gives you an ultimatum on something that you truly love, and you know coming into this marriage that this is what you love, no, I'm not going to be careful. This is how I feel. If somebody's giving you an ultimatum, then it's not going to work out in the first place. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are a little bit different, Pete, and I have to tell you, and it's going to be an unpopular opinion because he's a Buccaneer.
Sure, that's
Look,
fine.
man, this man should have retired 5 years ago. This is my opinion from a family standpoint. If your wife is worth that much and she's having to raise them kids all by herself, and he publicly said that after he retired from football, he was going to go to work for Fox Sports, that's a 5-day-a-week gig. Okay. Hang up the cleats and spend the time with your family. That is what's most important. Ultimately, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but that's just my opinion. And I told everybody, and including you on your previous shows, that through resources that I have with Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization, this was going on for a couple of years now. Hence the reason for the 10 days that he'd missed in training camp. This is all coming to fruition. This is everything that we have talked about and I have said is actually coming to light. Unfortunately, it's going to possibly lead up to a divorce. Just because you're getting a divorce attorney, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be getting divorced.
Correct.
They can still reconcile. If they love each other as much as they do, hey, you know what? They're going to get back together. But on this one, I'm on Giselle's side. I have to be honest with you. He's 45 years old and the kids are almost grown up. You got it. Your family comes number one. It's God, family, then football. It isn't the other way around, Peter. It's not football, family, and God. It's God, family, football. In those order.
The disclaimer is I'm a single man. And that's probably why I'm single, because at the end of the day, I truly love what I do. And if there's somebody out there, no matter how long I've been with them, I'm not going to compromise my lifestyle for them. I'm not going to do that. And I wouldn't expect anybody to do that these days. And I'll tell you the reason why. The most likely I'm single.
And hold up, Peter. And Peter,
yes,
hold up.
Yes.
She was a supermodel, top rated in her field.
Correct.
In the entire world.
Correct.
She stopped literally everything, Peter.
That's fair. That's a fair point. But at the end of the day,
everything.
Do you want to see him happy? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that what it comes down? Because for me, that's the biggest key for me in a relationship. Okay, if that person supports me, then we're going to be good because I'm going to support her. But if she's not supporting me, then, I feel like it's kind of one-sided. Just my opinion. We'll go ahead and talk about it. I don't want to get too personal.
We're not getting personal.
I want to get my perspective on it. And I tell you right now, I was thinking about this the other day. And let's go ahead and read these comments, and then we'll get back to my point in a moment. You're on the Sports Web, The Evolution. Mike Hughes says, Peter, baby, what's going on, buddy?
Mikey, what's up, brother? Hang on. Time out. So he gives love to you.
Yes.
How about them Bucs, baby?
You know what? I'm gonna give him a Bears thing. All right, that's enough. Jeff says here he is sad because the Sox season. All right,
you too, Jeff. Wow. Here you go. Back in Chicago.
That's tough, right?
No. Hold on.
Yes,
Jeff Stassi is an awesome individual out of Chicago, and I know he's a Cub fan, and he's upset because I had to call the help desk with Bridgestone, and of course he got the message that I told him that the Cubs suck. So that was his way of getting back to me. Jeff, I love you, brother. You know it, man. It's all nothing but love. And Mike, you can't even say hello to your boy? Really?
Well, me and Jeff have had some disagreements about Mike Judge. We can get into that in just a little bit. Mike Judge and Barry Bonds, of course. Jeff feels like Barry Bonds has the record. I feel like it's a fake record, and we should, at this juncture, be recognizing Judge more as the single season with his season, what he's had. We can get into that in just a little bit. Sean says that was Brady's fault on the missed blitz pick. He should have gotten the ball out.
Yep, one mistake.
Right. I don't know
one mistake.
No, if that's all his fault, that's also scheme.
Hold on. 42. Set. Hut. 1, 2. Crush. Are you kidding me?
Right.
How about fix the offensive line?
Well, it's also schematically. I mean, it comes down to who was supposed to block that guy at the end of the day, and the Chiefs and their defense. Of course,
But good comment, Sean. Good comment. I do like that.
He's a Packer fan. That's okay. We allow the NFL fans here.
He's a what fan?
He's a Packer fan. Yes.
We're
you ready?
Shut up!
All right, he should have retired, says Sean. Ralph says we will see next week against the Steelers. Of course, they have their own quarterback change. We can get into that in just a little bit. Sean says what he did to her was messed up. He could have spent time with his family. The kids are getting older. He's already missed so much, but that's his job. He's the greatest of all time. He's also got to bring in some money to that household. I get it. You can look at it from that standpoint. I can look at it from this standpoint. That's the great thing about the sports web. Christopher Cole says, hey, guys, Facebook user, I don't know who that is. Yes,
that's Olga Navakopin.
Oh, thank you, Olga, for tuning in as always and commenting. Sean says, Peter, you're only looking at it from his point of view. What if she's not happy? Then if she's not happy, then why does she act surprised that the man still wants to play football? If he's playing at a high level, he threw 40 touchdowns last year. But again, we're not privy to the information of what he said to her, promised her, everything like that. I'm just saying from the standpoint of football-wise, she knows what he loves.
Let me ask you this question, and I'm gonna give you a very, very difficult question. Okay.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, what's more important, winning a Super Bowl? Honestly, winning the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl, or missing out on your kids' accomplishments, whether they're playing sports or plays or things like that. You really need to think about that because again, it's God, family, and football.
I agree. I agree. That's definitely one of those things. But at the end of the day, he's not playing all year round.
I think that she could be. You know what? There could be a million other reasons why. We're only speculating. It's
correct.
Because he hasn't.
Correct.
Okay. That he didn't retire from football and he was going to spend time with the family.
Right.
Who knows? There could be, and again, I don't know this to be true. There could be another woman. There could be another man. There could be multiple reasons why people get divorced. It doesn't have to be because he's playing football. Right. But if that's the reason, the man needs to hang his cleats up. But if it's not the reason, then you know what? Keep playing. Keep playing till you can't play anymore. And I don't think anybody can disagree with that.
With this situation going on, we're on with Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. If there is a divorce in the works and it does happen, do you think he does not retire? Do you think he plays another 2 to 3 years if he is still playing at a high level, because at that point, what do you got to lose, right? I mean, you've got football. That's all you got at this point. I'm not saying he doesn't have a family, but, if he's divorced from his wife, does that make him want to play more years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or another team?
Peter, that's a great question. But if he has to play behind this offensive line the way it's set up, I'd retire.
Well, I'm telling you
I'll
right
tell you
now,
what, if he keeps getting beat up the way he does,
yes,
he isn't finishing the year like this. I don't care if they're getting beat by 21 points. You don't set a 45-year-old quarterback, the greatest of all time, and you make him throw 50-plus times.
No.
You just don't do that.
No, you have to have balance to your offense. And the problem is you're down 14-3, you're down 21-10. That's not been your defense. That was probably the most disappointing aspect. Everybody wants to point to Brady and the possible distractions off the field. But for me, the most disappointing aspect is if you say your defense is going to go in there and knock somebody out and stop the running game, and you allow over 150, in fact, 189 rushing yards. This by far has to be the worst performance for Todd Bowles and his defense. Would you not agree?
There was a game a couple of years ago I could really compare it to.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go out to what Todd Bowles had to say. I'll put you in the lobby there. Let's see what Todd Bowles had to say after the loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, 41-31, in the evolution of sports talk television. Here we go.
We didn't play well. They did a good job, and they kicked our butts all over the field. Turnovers had nothing to do with it. We got to play situational football if they do get it down there and hold them to 3 at least. Our red zone defense was poor. Our run defense was poor. Our pass defense was poor. Our third down efficiency was poor. And we played a poor game, and that falls on me. I'll take that.
All right, so there you go. Welcome back to the evolution. And he said it best. It falls on me. A lot of people would talk about the turnovers. Of course, White setting the tone. Only takes 46 seconds. But he said it best. If you have a top-notch defense, your defense is always behind the wall. You've got to step up and make a stop and at least hold them to the field goal. They weren't able to do that. And then when you finally get your defense to stop them, then, of course, you've got the defensive back blitz there. Yes, you can call in, Ed. Of course, all of you can call in. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Guys, I don't care if I got the Pope on. I don't care if I got whoever. You guys can always call in. This is interactive. All right, let's go out to, there you go. Ask and you shall receive. Ed from Palm Harbor leading off tonight on the Sports Web. You're on with yours truly, along with Harry the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire. Your thoughts on the Bucs falling to 2-2?
Where do I start, man?
Well, go for it. Go for it, my friend.
Okay, I'm really glad that the head coach came on today and admitted that it was on him, because it truly was on him.
Okay.
What offense has gone downhill since the beginning of the year? And I hate to say this, it's because Abrams isn't there.
Because who's not there?
Because of the head coach.
Arians.
Last year we
BA.
had. BA.
Well, I mean, Harry, could it be, honestly, could it be here, Ed, the fact of you had all this transition on your offensive line, you had injuries to start the year with Ryan Jensen being there?
Nothing.
Yes, I will give you that.
I mean, you had 3 of your top wide receivers, Ed, that were out of the game. Now, come on. Let's put this.
But we had them in the game.
And you scored.
It has nothing to do with that.
Well, you shut up, Harry.
Shut up!
The defense didn't show up at all.
Okay.
And that is a big problem.
I agree. Against the Kansas City Chiefs. Right.
Against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Correct.
I didn't expect them to just go out there and dominate them, but they should have at least played up to a better bar than they did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they gave up.
Yeah.
I don't think they gave up. How are you going to blame Arians not being in there when White, the rookie, fumbles the ensuing kickoff? And because your defense has one bad game? Really? Just think about that. I don't think the offense played that bad. I do blame the fact that they got into panic mode and they decided to completely abandon the running game. That's what happened. That's plain as day. What do you think? Let me tell you something. If Arians was the coach last year, they lose the ball game the same points.
You think? Okay.
Well, I mean, again, you throw the ball 52 times.
Actually, I think they may even lose it more because I've seen a lot more precision, shorter routes, high percentage passes to try to move the chains downfield. Arians, he's going to throw the ball 50 yards downfield at least 20 times in that game. Come on, guys.
Well, and to that point,
right.
The offense has not.
And Brady probably wouldn't have finished the game because he would have got crushed.
Well, he got crushed in this game too.
Yes,
but
I'm very worried about Brady's health. But I will say this: I'm with him on whatever he decides to do. It's his life. It's his career. If he wants to play, let the man play. I honestly think this will be his last year, at least with the Bucs. And I'm very worried that he's not going to make it the rest of the season. He got pounded upon this last game.
You won't see 55 passes this next game. I promise you. You will not see 55 or 50 or even 40. You may see 30, okay, because of the fact that they have to get that running game established. This game was very winnable. And by the way, for all you Kansas City haters that were supposed to finish in last place this year, you heard it here first.
Well,
it's the best team in that division. That's a division that everybody said, oh, my God, it's the best in football. Really? Look at their records.
Well, and you're exactly right about that. And I was one of those people that said, you know what, they would take a step back. And I thought what was going to happen is what happened against the Indianapolis Colts, where they lose 20-17 and have difficulty scoring. And that didn't happen against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because you got a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who was just a magician last Sunday night, 23 for 37, 249, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception to SMB, but just doing some things that were just unbelievable. You're not supposed to do that as a quarterback, and he's just defying logic. Go ahead, Ed. Continue.
You know what they need? They don't need to go get OJ Beckham back. They need to get Gronk back. That needs to happen.
Well, OBJ will be Odell Beckham, not, and you're exactly right. I agree with you. I think Gronk is the main ingredient that's missing in this offense, not only from a tight end standpoint, because you're not getting that production from your tight end room, but also from the blocking standpoint, an inline blocker that's going to help that offensive line out, the physicality that he's going to bring.
That would be the only reason why I bring him back. They have enough pass catchers on this team. You really want to address something? Why don't you go head out there and go start investigating some third or fourth string or even second string left tackles to get him in there? Okay, you need some help on this offensive line. Seriously. This team needs serious help on the offensive line. We need to stop being enamored with how many people can receive and catch a football. Okay. This team has plenty, and is a Leo word, a plethora of receivers.
Right.
Okay. A plethora. Let's get some people to do some dirty work for this team and put them on the front line and see if they can actually block for some pass protection.
And I think that's where Gronk comes in. I think that's the biggest loss for this team at this point because of an inline blocker, because he can help out a Donovan Smith or Tristan Wirfs on that side or help you in the running game. And then furthermore, when he's in the red zone, he's going to be able to get open, which you haven't seen a lot of that besides a Mike Evans at the end of the day. So that aspect, that offense is missing a lot of it. Ed, what else?
People want to bring a Donovan Smith back, or Donovan Sue back.
And Donovan Sue, yes.
Donovan Sue back. And I've been hearing that all week long. And you think he's washed up, really?
I really do. I think Donkey.
Everybody is so enamored with this guy, and they will. Well, the Bucs should bring him back. That's what they're missing. Okay, well, there's 31 other NFL teams that say you're wrong because they haven't picked him up. So obviously, either he's lost a step or he's asking for too much money. Because if
lost 2 steps.
Right, because if people loved him so much, like Buccaneer fans, and they're looking for something, I get it. It comes down to effort at the end of the day. The Bucs have plenty of talent on this team. JTS has to play better than a Joe Tryon, Shayenka. Everybody on that defensive line has to play better. They got their asses kicked by Kansas City. Kansas City wanted it more. They had revenge on their mind. When Shaq Barrett talked about it, whether it was bulletin board material or not, they took it to this Tampa Bay defensive line, and Tampa Bay, as a defense, has to look themselves in the mirror. If you want to be a defense that's going to stop the running game, then you better start doing what you need to do. If not, you're going to get ran all over, and that's exactly what happened. So Sue being on this team, Vita Vea has to step up. Of course, Akeem Hicks, you're missing it. At the end of the day, the NFL is not for long. You're going to have injuries. Guys got to step up, and they didn't do it on Sunday night. One player is not going to make that much of a difference.
I agree totally. I agree totally. You know, the first 3 games, defense played great. and I loved what I see from them. But we didn't see that on Sunday night.
Yeah, you didn't see that on Sunday night. You didn't. You're exactly right.
One last thing.
Yes.
I heard a story about Cameron Brate, and that he apparently had a concussion during the game.
Correct.
And
that ain't a story. That actually happened.
Now, that was a big time source of controversy, if you will. Of course, with the Tua story coming out of Miami, it looks like he did have a concussion. He is still in concussion protocol. He did go back into the game. The Bucs were not aware of that situation. And it's getting scary now. And it's one of those things that the league and the NFL Players Association is going to have to pay attention to. And you're going to have a spotter. I don't understand how you have a spotter that can spot Spygate, a camera on the sideline, but you don't have somebody in that stadium that can spot somebody having concussion syndromes or concussion symptoms, excuse me. If he's having concussion symptoms, he shouldn't not be out in that game. And unfortunately, he went back into that game. So that is a scary situation in itself, and one that we have to focus on at the end of the day. So, and the Bucs are going to be shorthanded because most likely, unless he clears concussion protocol, they're going to have to go with two rookies, which once again goes back to my point. Whether you have Kyle Rudolph on this team, the biggest loss on this offense is Rob Gronkowski, period.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Good stuff, man.
I just want to say a couple more things here.
Sure.
So, when I watched the game, I saw him run off the field late, which is not something he does. And I guess he ran into an official on the way off the field.
Who?
So there was obviously something was going on with him. I don't know why it wasn't picked up, but obviously something was going on.
Cameron Brate you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I watched it on TV. I know you're at the.
Well, I was at the stadium, yeah, and I didn't get a chance to see it, and
Yeah.
I just saw it later on that he was in concussion protocol and he went out, and that's a position you cannot afford. You can't lose a Cameron Brate from that room. So
no,
very disappointing. All right, good stuff, Ed. Thanks a lot. Use that second call. Let me give you the Byron.
Okay.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Let me give you the Ric Flair. Good stuff. Okay. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web Live here on I Love St. Pete Amped Up Sports, and of course the Hub. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about along with my co-host here, the professional handicapper extraordinaire, Mr. Harry the Greek, 1252 Chicago Sports. All right, let's go out to the comments. Steph, again, same to you. Glad you're here. I see both sides. Happy birthday, Peter. I think that's Olga. You said he has nothing left to win or lose in football. He has everything to lose at home. That's a fair point, Tyler. Tom has nothing left to win or lose in the game of football. He has everything to lose at the home. I love Tom, but ultimately believe he should have stayed home if that was the promise he made. Christopher Cole says that was a DB blitz. Ben says it wasn't all on Rashard White, but that fumble on the kickoff to start the game definitely set the tone.
Hold on, Ben.
Yes.
Sorry, Ben. Whose fault was it? I mean, whose fault was it?
Right.
Was there another person supposed to catch the ball?
Correct.
I think you need to clarify what you're saying there, Ben, because that truthfully doesn't make sense to me.
Well, what he was saying is it's not all on White. It's not all one play. It was everything else. That's
the entire. You cannot give an offensive juggernaut team like the Kansas City Chiefs with an up-and-coming defense,
right, and
a really good running game. And by the way, some guy by the name of Patrick Mahomes, you can't give him such a short field, man, and be able to crawl out of that hole. You just can't.
Somebody has to explain this to me. What kind of defense were they playing on Sunday night versus Travis Kelce? Because for me, I'm letting the other wide receivers beat me. I'm not letting Travis Kelce, and for some reason, Kelce got open all night long. Explain that to me.
Listen, man. Look, I'm going to tell you this again. It's one game.
Right.
I mean, look, it's not time to jump off the bridge, okay? This team has the same record as the Chicago Bears. Are you kidding me? Have you seen the Chicago Bears play? Really? Okay. I'd rather be in Tampa's position, to be honest with you. I mean, this is not a bad football team. Look, man, they're injured. They're going to do nothing but get better. don't get ready to jump off the bridge. It isn't time to commit Harry Carey, whatever they call it, or slice your wrist 100 different ways to Sunday. I'm not. The team's just fine. But they do need to fix that offensive line. And I disagree with you. It'd be nice to have a Rob Gronkowski, but that's not the glaring need on this team. The glaring need is to protect this quarterback's blind side.
And I think that's where Gronk comes in, because he is a great end-line blocker, and he's helped in those moments for this team throughout the last 2 seasons. Let's go out to Todd Bowles. Of course, Bowles was asked about distractions from last week of Hurricane Ian. He kind of threw that away. But then on the Buccaneer Radio Network this week, he said the biggest thing is preparation and practice. You play how you practice, and with all the movement last week, I don't think we prepped as well as we should have, or as well as some people could have. Preparation will be the key this week, of course, against the Atlanta Falcons for the division lead of the NFC South. So your thoughts on it? Hurricane Ian, I mean, a distraction at the end of the day, right? I mean, we're talking about being a human being and thinking about what you have to do with your family. Do you have to evacuate? You got to go down to Miami. You're thinking about your family. So, of course, it has to be a distraction. Could that have played into the reason why this team came out the way they did the other night versus the Chiefs? Okay. So just a little bit.
I think so. You got to take 100. You got to take 150 pets, 2 cats, 15 mistresses. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, right. Yes, it is going to be difficult when you have to move them and everything else. But that's not why they lost this game, Pete. It's not why they lost this game. They lost this game because Kansas City wanted it more.
Yeah.
And White fumbled the opening kickoff.
And Brady also fumbled because they didn't pick up the blitz, and he didn't get rid of the ball.
He fumbled because he's not handing the ball off, and he had to throw it 50-plus times. And he had to throw for almost 400 yards. That's why he fumbled, because he kept getting hit. Because Rob Gronkowski's not your left tackle? No, sir. That's because you don't have a starting left tackle, and there's not a good center on this team right now, and the left guard's not playing very well, and they're not playing max protect because you want to go out there because you started shaking like a whore in church because you were down 14-0, and you had to go to a 5 wide receiver set on every single play. Sorry, that's why you lost.
I mean, you had to at that point because you're down 14-3. I understand what you're saying about balance and running the ball, but when you're down 14-3 and you're not having success in running the ball at that point, then you got to change course. Let's see here. Okay, let's go out to Sean. Pete, you don't have kids. It's different when kids are involved. Just saying, that's fine. Again, I prefaced it by saying disclaimer that I'm a single man, and the reason why I'm single is because truly, I care about my career and have not found that significant other that I feel like will support me in everything I do. Just putting it out there.
I've got to clarify something, Sean.
Sure, go for it.
Please put that comment up there.
Go. The comment. Okay, let me go back.
From Sean. Pete, you don't have kids.
Yes.
Pete, that we know of. Okay, that's just that we know of that he doesn't have kids. Okay, let's just put that out there.
Shut up!
Trust me, I don't have.
Trust me, this man's a player. This man's a player. Okay,
I'm a worker. I work all the time. I don't have time.
This man's probably got a kid in every county. What are you kidding me?
Oh my God! You know what? This is the way you start rumors.
If anybody's looking for their daddy, DM me. I have his social security number. The child support will be following.
Shut up!
All right, so let's move on here. I guess the bodyguard of the bird can't get in here. I have to send him a link in just a little bit. I don't know, guys. I mean, I send you a link on the email, and you guys don't see it. I don't understand it. All I know is Brady household was quiet when Gronk was playing.
Good day.
I don't know who that is. Facebook user says what?
What?
It's what?
What?
There you go.
What?
3 receivers not at 100. They didn't keep the ball away from Mahomes by running it. Absolutely. But again, it goes back to the offense. A lot of people worried about the offense. Again, it's just one game, but your defense, to me, lets you down. So you're going to have to figure that situation out very quickly.
It was one game. One game. Stop.
All right. I know it's one game there, Aaron Rodgers, but we got to talk about it. We got to be critical of this team. Christopher Cole says, just came across the wire. Protester that was tackled by Wagner has filed suit against Wagner. I mean, what did you make of that? Look, if you're a stupid fan and you come out there and do something stupid and a football player basically puts you on your ass, you have no right to sue. Agree or not?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree with whatever you say.
Okay. That's not what I asked you, smart ass.
Ooh, now
Yes.
we're cursing a little
Fired
bit.
up tonight. Tell me, what do you think about that fan coming? What do you think about fans in general going out there and making a spectacle and taking away from the game and the athletes and the coaches and everybody watching just for their enjoyment?
I thought that they could have threw the tissue paper on the field because it kind of led with his head. Okay, but personally, I would have loved to have seen Bobby Wagner absolutely crush this guy's skull.
Well, I think that's what he pretty
Hold on.
much did. Yes, you're getting a call. What's going on here?
Mute me, please.
All right, we'll go ahead and take you out of the lobby there really quick. Let me go. We'll come back to you in a moment. Let me go ahead and read some of these comments, and then we'll get back to him once he's done. This is the Sports Web. Definitely get on the phone lines if you want to talk about this Bucs loss or anything around the National Football League. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go out to Tyler. NFL games are won in the trenches. Doesn't matter the era. The offensive line has to get better. The defensive line has to get better, and they will. Facebook user says, yes, sir. Tyler says Tampa Bay fans are panicking too early again. I looked at the schedule 12 weeks ago and said 2-2 would be an okay start. 3-1 is a great start. The Bucs are fine, and I think you're exactly right. I think there's a lot of Bucs fans out there that saw that Green Bay Packer game as a winnable one, and that the Bucs should be 3-1. But of course, their offense was beaten up with all their three wide receivers, one being suspended and the two being hurt. Let's go back out to Harry here. What's going on, buddy? How you doing? Are you back?
Oh, I'm doing just fine, sir. I'm doing just fine. I wasn't quite back. Someone was trying to get on. Oops.
What is that? I don't know who was trying. Yeah,
back.
that was really weird. Okay, so going back to Tyler's comment here. I mean, 2-2 with that rough 4-game schedule, 2 road games, 2 home games. Of course, you're 0-2, but you have an opportunity to be 3-1. Do you feel like Tampa Bay fans are kind of panicking at this point?
Absolutely. I'm just telling you right now. Overdose on your pills. Jump off the skyway. It's life's over, guys. It's over. I mean,
you're killing me.
Right here, just go.
You're killing me.
This team is just fine. They just need a little bit more with their offensive line. Seriously, don't hit the panic button.
Okay.
You know what is that Office Depot? You know that little red button. What's that button called?
It's easy.
Yeah, the easy button. Yeah.
That was easy. That was easy. Well, nothing has been easy for this offense lately, although they've shown some flashes. They're scoring 31 points in a losing effort.
Again, we can just. I just have to remember. I reiterate this. Yeah. The Bucs and the Bears have the identical record. I don't know.
A lot of people would be upset about that because
hold on. Let's line these two teams up right now. I think I like a side.
Well, I think you like the Bucs at this point. Let's go out to Christopher Cole. They were too confident, thought they would walk all over the Chiefs. Let's go out to Roger Shue, Hey Harry, and Little Pete Malacca, and this is what you get.
Acknowledge me.
And you get this also.
Shut up.
Tom says free Griner. Okay. Jeff says, what if they sign Jimmy Graham or however you spell it? I don't think Graham is going to be the key to this offense. Jimmy Graham.
What?
Okay. Enough of your whats. I got your whats right there. Okay. What? What's that?
Jimmy Graham.
Yes, Jimmy Graham, which was talked about in the offseason for this team. Does he help this offense? I mean, to me, he's not as good of a blocker as Gronkowski.
Blocker? But Julio Jones is a better blocker.
Okay.
Scotty Miller's a better blocker than Jimmy
you're not
Graham.
going to say that at all.
Shut up.
The only thing that Scotty Miller blocks is passes.
Hang on.
Yes.
Cole Beasley's a better. Oh, wait a minute. He's not on the team anymore.
Now, he's retired. Now, that was interesting in itself because that was reported today. Of course, we heard that Cole Beasley, he retired today. 4 catches for 17 yards. His agent said he is ready to be with his family after playing 11 seasons, and it's time to be a full-time dad and husband. Again, that's according to Joel Turner, his agent. His wife and kids are still back home in Texas. They came out the first game, went through evacuation last week, which the Tampa Bay organization has not nearly received enough credit for. They deserve. They handled Hurricane Ian nothing but first class by the Glazer family. Of course, Jason Light and Coach Todd Bowles. He doesn't want to be separated from them anymore. He loves his wife and kids and wants to be with them. Fine reasons, but at the end of the day, also, you look at him on the field, he didn't make much of an impact. Again, he doesn't know the offense, but all we heard was, Brady had him on his radar, and he was going to come in here and solidify this wide receiving position, and now we hear he's retired. So what's the impact of the loss there, if it's any loss, to this wide receiving room?
I don't think it's going to be much of a loss at all. I mean, what did he do? Catch for 20 yards or something like that? I mean, I'm probably giving him more.
Important third down conversion. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, look, Cole Beasley, there's more to the story. It's going to be coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not anything filthy. He's just not capable to play at that level.
Right.
And be able to take that pounding. Let's remember, folks, he's 175 pounds.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
Well, he's 175 pounds, and the last couple of years he's had 80 catches. So I think what Bucs fans were thinking, what I was thinking, is that he would be a lot better than Scotty Miller. And now Miller is back here under that spotlight and has an opportunity to do something. Although, according to Von Miller, and I was going to get this sound, but I'm not going to mess with it at this point. Von Miller says that OBJ in the next couple weeks here will be visiting teams like the Giants, like the Saints, like the Bills, and also the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So in your opinion, if the Bucs have an opportunity to sign an OBJ with the injuries that they've had to this wide receiving room, would you go for it?
No.
Okay, and why?
No. There's my answer. No,
Okay.
absolutely not. I mean,
No
the guy,
reason?
honestly, there's plenty of reasons. Number one, he's not the best attitude for your locker room. Okay. I'm not going to say he's Antonio Brown by
Please
any
don't.
stretch,
It's
of
not
the
even
imagination.
close.
I'm
Right.
not. I'm not even
Okay.
going there. But he's not that good for the locker room. Number one. Number two, the man has truly lost a step, and suffering another ACL injury the way he did. Look, they've already got one problem with an ACL, and that's in Chris Godwin, and they can't seem to get him on the field continuously enough. Look, their wide receiver core is just fine. They need to solidify the offensive line. Go ahead. Sorry.
Give that thought. Let's go out to Ben Cornett from Las Vegas. You're on with yours truly, along with Harry
Oh.
the Greek, and we're going to get on Ray here in
Check.
just a little bit. But Ben, go ahead. Say what you want to say here about the Brady situation, the Bucs, or possibly OBJ signing. Welcome to the Evolution.
Oh, thank you for having me, Peter.
Absolutely.
The Brady thing, I'll be honest, it's the truth. It's out there. I mean, you can't run from it. So, look, I mean, he's a football player. He still plays at a high level. And it would be nice if he, went back to his family. I think he just still thinks he can play at a high level right now.
He can.
It's still out there.
Right. I mean, you got a guy that's had back-to-back 40-touchdown seasons and an opportunity to take his team to the Super Bowl. So I understand where he's coming from. And then I also understand the family situation. But at the end of the day, you go into it knowing that your husband is the greatest of all time and he still has that fire to play. So I don't necessarily understand ultimatums. Again, I'm not privy to that relationship. I would just say this. If this happens the way it's going to happen, I would expect Brady to play another 2 to 3 years. This may not be his last season. And I'll say this. I think there was something to that Miami stuff. And I think she expected him to be possibly a part owner or something a part of the Miami organization. And when that didn't work out, and then when they knew it couldn't work out and he was going to go back and play quarterback for the Bucs, I think that was also what it could have been about. Just saying.
Yeah, Peter, I think the original plan was he was going to retire.
Right.
But then I just think something was there that he's like, I can still do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he pissed off his wife.
All right, I'll tell you what, let's go out to Tampa Bay. Ray, really quick here. I know he's out and about as we got Ben Cornett on the line here.
Say hi. Thank you, Miss Tabitha.
All right, there you go. Tampa Bay Ray along with Ben Cornett. Ray, really quick, and then we'll go back out to you, Ben. What do you think about this whole situation? Welcome to the Evolution.
The whole situation with
Brady and the game.
The game was just, the receivers trying to come back, trying to get timing with everybody, with the new people, that offensive line. He knows that the Kansas City Chiefs, their plan was to mix them up in that pocket and make that pocket as small as possible, and they did exactly just that. His throws, not on point. The Rashid White on the kickoff, just right from there, the mojo went downhill. As far as Tom playing, I know just 6 months ago when Tom was retired, and it was because he was going to spend more time with his family and be the family man and let Giselle do some of her stuff. And within the same week that he announces he's coming back for his 23rd season, let's get it done. We have some unfinished work. LFG. He also announces that he's going to go and become an announcer and be the number one announcer for Fox Booth, and he make $35.7 million a year for 10 years. But here's the thing, guys. It's not the exact same thing. I mean, you're not over at $1 in the ice pool getting, stuff. But these guys, Tony Romo's, your analysts, they fly into a city on a Wednesday or Thursday. They spend a full day with the team who's home that week. They get interviews with the players, interviews with the coaches, talking about the goods, talking about the bads. And then the next day, the team coming into play arrives, and they do the same thing with that team. And they sit around and they find out tendencies, and they talk to them and how you feeling, and they get the feel good stories that they'll inevitably pull up in the booth on Sunday. Oh, that's the third year defensive back out of Loyola. He's the one who's going through some issues with his mom about fighting breast cancer, and he's going to do a lot with breast cancer. Those are the cleats he's wearing this week, the breast cancer awareness cleats in honor of his mom. What I'm saying is that when he thought he was just going to walk away from football to be there for his wife and start that family, but at the same time he's announcing that he's just jumping right back into the Fox booth, that there told me that there was a disconnect there. That told me that the waters were already a little warm then, because you don't make that, you don't say I'm coming back and by the way, I'm also going to do this if you really think you have a chance to work it out, or if any of that was going to not being done was going to make it work out. I believe whatever was happening, it was happening over and longer, and it's not just about football. I think it may just be about life.
Preach, brother. Right, preach on, brother. Preach on.
Let me go back out to Ben here. I mean, your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, oh boy, you got two alphas, right? Brady, football players, Giselle, the model.
Right.
So I think she sacrificed so much. She's put away her modeling career aside. She's still doing stuff, but I think she feels like, Tom, I've sacrificed a lot for you. You've done so much. What else do you have to prove? Why don't you come home? Spend more time with us.
Right.
But I think that competitiveness in Tom Brady, it's like, I don't know if he'll always be around football, in my opinion. He just can't let it go. Certain athletes just can't let it go. Does that make sense?
Absolutely makes lots of sense at the end of the day. And of course, I don't know what's going on there, Ray. The music's a little bit loud.
I have 4 words. Addiction is a bitch. Let me repeat it. Addiction is a bitch. There's many types of addiction. Porn, gambling, working on your car, lottery, gambling again, football, sports in general. And again, Ben, nothing personal. This is only that we're assuming.
Correct. A lot of this is an assumption.
This has something because this is what we're assuming.
Right.
However, with that being said, we don't know the truth. There could be another man. There could be another woman. There could be irreconcilable differences. It could be whatever. He could have been hanging out with Deshaun Watson. We don't know.
Don't start that.
I'm just saying.
Right.
What?
What? What?
What? What?
Okay.
What?
Enough. All right, Ben. What else?
I just want to clarify. Listen, you're right. Rashad White, it was on him.
Down.
I'm not saying that.
Down.
I'm also saying
down.
How much further down do I got to go?
Well, I'm just saying the defense,
right.
still had to play 3.5 quarters. They could have made stops for 3.5 quarters. So it's not just Rashad White. That's all I'm clarifying. That's all.
No, I think that makes
More
lots
than
of makes lots of sense. At the end of the day, of course, it's not a great start, but your defense, when they're giving up again 189 yards of rushing to the Kansas City Chiefs, and you're not getting enough pressure on Patrick Mahomes, even though you get 3 sacks, you're not consistently putting pressure on Mahomes, and that's the reason why you basically got picked apart on
What?
Sunday night. Good stuff. Up with the what stuff, guys. Come on. All right. Go ahead.
It was one game.
at all. I'm just, clarifying. This is probably offensively. This was our best game. Defensively, it was our worst game. So,
Yep.
And one more thing. I'm gonna say one more thing real quick. Harry Peter is not a player. Okay.
Did you say a Harry Peter?
Oh my God! You know what?
No. He's
What?
not.
It is.
Enough of your whats.
What?
You
What?
shut up. Be quiet.
Huh?
He said a Harry Peter is not a twig.
I know. He said he called it a Harry Peter.
I'll get you back on in a moment. All right. So
There's my buddy.
All right. Good stuff, Ben. Appreciate the call. Let me get to the Byron Leftwich. Appreciate it as always. All right. Use that second call if you want to. All right. Good stuff. I don't know what's going on there, Tampa Bay, but I don't want to get copyrighted. So you want to say something here because the music.
Because we can hear the music really loud, Ray.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll get out of here, but I want to share 727-239-9792. I know you've already hired an attorney, Giselle. Call me, and we'll work this out. I'll do right by you, and we'll make sure everything gets taken care of because we're here and we care. We're Care Bears. Think of us as Care Bears. That's all we are.
Done with you. Good
You
stuff.
think I'm crazy?
All right, Tampa Bay Ray. Thanks a lot for your time. We appreciate you. All right, boss.
Love you, buddies.
I love you too, brother. All right. Yeah, I got to get out of there. I cannot take the chance of getting copyrighted here. We're on the Evolution Live on YouTube, Facebook, and of course now on LinkedIn Live, another platform out there for you guys to tune into the Evolution. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Harry the Greek. I tell you what, let's go out to this guy right here. He wants to join the fray. Mr. Madman himself, Mark Mancini, Mancini Media. We usually talk some wrestling, but I feel like tonight we should kind of wrestle with the fact that, Tom Brady possibly could have a situation off the field with his wife, possibly a divorce. I mean, what's your thought process, and what did you think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneer game on Sunday night? Welcome to the Evolution.
Well, first of all, this is the show that's sweeping the country, the most must-see, must-hear show. And as I'm taking a break, taking a sledgehammer to New York, as the Mets will go down this weekend to the Padres.
What?
And then I will set my sights on Los Angeles, as the Dodgers will be in the backyard too. I will talk about Tampa. You guys think you have problems there. Why don't you join me in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers are 1-3 trying to find themselves?
Well, and not only that, you have the Rams in your own backyard. They were disappointing the other night. 7 straight victories by the San Francisco 49ers. Let's talk about the Steelers situation first, because I know, Harry, how much you love Mitchell Trubisky here, but now it's the Kenny Pickett era.
Oh, Mitchell Trubisky sucks.
Yeah, well, go ahead and talk about that Pittsburgh Steelers situation with Kenny Pickett now getting the start, even with 3 interceptions in his first game for the Steelers.
You know what? I was pretty impressed to see Kenny Pickett in the game. The way he played, it really wasn't that bad, even though he threw 3 picks. The team seemed to respond very, very, very well with him under center. It's a shame that Mitchell Trubisky couldn't get things going. This was a chance to revitalize his career. He has no excuses. The game plan was right there. The play calling wasn't bad. I watched it again. The play calling was actually very good. For some reason, he was just late with getting the balls out of his hand. The running game was very erratic. He was turning the wrong directions on some of the handoffs. It's just not looking well. And honestly, it looks like he might be a perennial backup for the rest of his career. Unfortunately, because this is a guy that I thought had an absolute ton of talent. But as far as Kenny Pickett is concerned, it's going to take a while. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they're officially done. Okay, if they're going to stay with him under center this year, just for this year. I mean, they're going to be somewhat competitive. I don't have them winning more than 5 ball games with him being under center. And as far as the New York Mets are concerned, 0 chance that the Padres eliminate this team.
Wow, listen to that. All right,
Whoa.
so some fighting words there, Mr. Madman, Mark
Oh,
Mancini.
are you a Yankee fan?
Go
No, I
ahead.
love my Pirates, but I started covering down in San Diego with the Padres, and believe me, when it's all said and done, this is not a sprint; it's a marathon. The Mets will be home over the weekend, and the Dodgers will be next. But let me get back to these quarterbacks: Pickett, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence. These are decade quarterbacks, not like those 15-minute car chases in San Francisco with Trey Lance, Justin Fields in Chicago, or the guy that's chasing his mom's girlfriend, Zach Wilson, in New York.
Well, no,
That's
here's
a
the
great
thing
point.
now.
Hold on, let me rebuttal to that. I love that.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Madman.
Hold
Go ahead.
that thought, because we're going to go out to the phone lines. We got the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams, joining the conversation. Welcome to the Evolution. I know you want to chime in on this really quick about Pittsburgh Steeler football. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think. It's good to see Kenny Pickett, but I want to point something out to everybody, and I've said this many times. I think Mitch Trubisky has some issues because of the Dwayne Haskins death. I mean, don't forget, guys, he had Dwayne Haskins at his house down in Florida for a summit. They went down there to get to know each other. They had this workout. They did all this stuff. Trubisky wanted to get to know his team. Dwayne Haskins was there, and then whatever happened to make his death, I think his head's not straight. I think he's still thinking about that. Let's say, for instance, Peter, you and I are friends, and I die. How would you feel if I died and I just walked out of your house?
That's a hell of a point.
Yeah.
The story is with Trubisky.
Harry, you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
I know
listen, I'm a huge Trubisky supporter. Always have been. Okay, I never think that the Chicago Bears should have got rid of him. And the hell, he's the only quarterback ever in NFL history never to throw a pick six with 50 games ever. Let's get that out there. He's never done that. He had a winning record with the Chicago Bears, led them to 2 playoff games. Where are they sitting now? Okay, I didn't think about that. I forgot about the Dwayne Haskins. It very well could be the case. It may not be sitting well with them. But my other question is this. It's not the whole team that's suffering from it, obviously, because they did rally a little bit around Kenny Pickett. And Mr. Mancini, sorry, but you can't put Pickett into that conversation yet of being great. He hasn't even thrown a touchdown. He's got 3 picks. Let's just get that out there. Okay.
Right.
And, being a professional handicapper as I've been for literally my entire life, I don't bet with my heart. I'm a huge Bear fan, and I'm going to be the first one to tell you, if they would have won this past week, I was coming on and I announced that this was the worst 3-1 team that I've ever seen in the history of football. Okay. So you really can't say that yet. Do I think Pickett's going to be good? Slow your roll yet. I'm not too sure about it. I don't like his delivery. I like his footwork. He doesn't get happy feet, but he still has a hitch in his throwing motion, and he doesn't see receivers past the second level very well. And that's something I've noticed, and that was me breaking down that game tape. But with that being said, that doesn't mean he won't improve from game to game to game to game. Mitch Trubisky did.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And Tomlin's comments is that, we need to spark, and it's not all on him, but at the end of the day, we're going to go with Kenny Pickett because we need more offensive production. We haven't gotten enough. So is that what you see, Mark?
Well, the problem here is when Trubinsky came to Chicago, they haven't had a quarterback there that led them to a Super Bowl, that won the Super Bowl since Jim McMahon.
Yep.
Then they had Rex Grossman, who they pretty much had going there. And then the other one was the guy that didn't really want to be there. Then he went to Denver, thinking of Cutler.
He's talking about Kyle Orton. Okay.
Oh,
the one that went from Chicago to Denver. Let me correct you on one thing, Mr. Mancini. Jay Cutler was the best quarterback that the Chicago Bears have ever had, statistically, and it's not even close. The next best quarterback statistically was a guy by the name of Sid Luckman. You and I weren't even born. Okay, that's how bad it's been for the city of Chicago to have a quarterback. Jim McMahon, awesome ball player. He threw a football that would have made Phil Niekro jealous, okay? Let's just be real. And then you had Eric Kramer. That man could lead an offense, but they didn't play defense. But as far as quarterbacks are concerned, the best quarterback ever to suit up as a Chicago Bear was Jay Cutler, and that was Cutty 6. Not fair to say he didn't want to be around there, because I will tell you firsthand, and I know Coach Lovie Smith personally, and his exact words out of his mouth is he got such a bad rap because of his facial expressions. Anybody see Tom Brady on the sideline with his facial expressions, but he doesn't get that kind of criticism?
Right.
That's all I'm going to say. Also, a lot of people didn't realize this, that Jay Cutler is also an insulin-dependent diabetic. Oh, and when you change your offensive coordinator 5 times in 6 years, that's a huge problem. Oh, and your number 1 wide receiver for 3 years is Devin Hester.
Right.
Well-
You're absolutely making some great points there. And Ralph, I mean, what do you say?
I had to throw that in there. I love Mancini.
And Mancini and Williams here out of Pittsburgh, but I want to ask you, Bodyguard, I mean, what do you think of the quarterback change here? Does it basically end the season at this point with the rookie quarterback? Because we've seen when you have a rookie quarterback, there's going to be some bumps in the road. There's going to be some mistakes made. And right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are what, 1-3? This is very un-Mike Tomlin-like, if you will.
Yeah, well, Mike Tomlin here is stuck with the first season in the history of his coaching career, guys, that he does not have a franchise quarterback. So, when you look at him on the sidelines, he looks like he's lost. You got Brian Flores here for the defense, and he has Matt Canada as the offensive coordinator. Matt Canada has been fired from every college job he's had. The only one he wasn't fired from was at the University of Pittsburgh. He walked away for more money to go to LSU. He went to LSU. He got fired down there. He went to Maryland. He became the interim head coach because Randy Edsall got fired. And then he got fired from Maryland after that and came to the Steelers as a quarterback's coach. Mike Tomlin recruited him because his son Dino went to school in Maryland. He transferred from Maryland, went to another school. That's how he knew about Matt Canada.
All right,
Okay.
let me go out to these comments here because we've been neglecting the webheads. Bye, Cole Beasley, Bucs legend. Once again, Troy Polamalu. Facebook user says go Bucs. Tom Banner says Kelsey. Jeff says laugh out loud. Exactly. Troy Polamalu. Lamar Jackson's a better running back than Leonard Fournette. Kelsey got open because he's a great player. Laugh out loud. But here's the thing. The Bucs defense a couple years ago was able to shut him down in the Super Bowl, and you have a Levante David and a Devin White. But this week, it's the Falcons. Ben Cornette says, cool, yes, Harry, it was on White for that fumble, no doubt, but I'm seeing a lot of Bucs fans blaming White for being the main reason the Bucs lost. That play definitely hurt them, but the defense still gave up 41 points. That's my clarification. Troy, again, Bucs are blaming the Hurricane for the loss. David says, if Akeem Hicks gets healthy in time, do you think he has any trade value? Let's talk about Mr. Akeem Hicks. We'll start with Harry, go with Mark, and then Ralph. Harry, big time loss with Akeem Hicks. We thought that he was an upgrade, but of course, the point of contention was, could he stay healthy? And now he is out with a foot injury. So are the Bucs looking to trade him, or are they looking to keep him, and why?
Way too valuable of a player. Way too valuable of a player to try to trade. I mean, he's not only just a run stuffer, but he gets after the quarterback. He's one of the fastest defensive linemen of his size in the entire National Football League. Unfortunately, for the past 3 years, he's had some injuries, and this one was a freak one. Man, I've seen people hurt their plantar fasciitis. I think I said that correctly, but to actually tear it, that's just so difficult to do. Now, you don't trade a player like Akeem Hicks, come playoff time, and if they put him in as a small rotational player in the beginning and then let him start ramping up by the time playoff time comes, assuming this team gets to the playoffs, he will make a significant impact for this defense. And again, Buck fans, it's one loss. It's not the end of the world. The 85 Chicago Bears were down 20-something to 4 or 3 or whatever the hell it was, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were completely hapless in that year, and then they came back and just blew them out.
Yes.
But the point I'm trying to make is they gave up some points along the way, and then the team got better, and it got better, and it just started rolling.
And to me, I think Hicks brings value to this defensive line because this defensive line, I get it's one game, but they were ran all over for 189 yards. That's the reason why you got Hicks from Chicago in the first place, not only to help your run-stopping unit, but also to get after the quarterback and free up a Vita Vea, free up a Shaq Barrett, and, of course, a JTS. Mark, Madman Mancini here, excuse me. What do you say about Akeem Hicks and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Well, let's face it. When you look at the NFC guys, and I'm going to say it right now, heading into week 5, Tampa's coming out of the NFC, and the only other team will be Philadelphia, and you can have everybody else. Let's call it for what it really is. It's not a great conference. The Rams have been exposed. They're the 49ers, bitch. The Cowboys ain't going anywhere. Green Bay's a drama queen. I don't know who the hell is dating Aaron Rodgers these days, and I don't really care. But when it's all said and done, Tom Brady knows what's at stake. He can put the divorce proceedings on the wayside for a minute. Tampa's going to be there at the end. They're too damn good. And Philadelphia might be the team that challenges them. Bottom line, it's not a prediction. It's a spoiler.
Well, and I tell you right now, it goes back to the first round last year with Philadelphia and Tampa Bay, how Tampa Bay disposed of them. And it certainly seems like Philly is the best team in that NFC, maybe in the National Football League. Let's go out to Mr. Ralph Williams, the bodyguard of the Berg. What do you say about Akeem Hicks?
Well, I think, as you mentioned, Philly's a good team. They're undefeated. I don't know much about Akeem Hicks. I really don't. I really can't say. But I know the Buccaneers have a good team. Todd Bowles is a better coach than he was when he was with the Jets. And I think Tampa Bay's gonna do all right as far as the NFC goes. And we'll see where Philly goes. I mean, right now it's just the beginning of the season, and they're 4-0.
That's a good.
So
that's a good point.
happens.
That's a good point.
Can I jump on that Philly bandwagon real quick?
Go for it.
The Philadelphia Eagles will go as far as this quarterback takes them. This team right now, and I'm going to look right in the camera, is the best team in the NFC defensively and the best team in the NFC as a team if that quarterback plays well. But I promise you, Philly fans that are out there, if this quarterback doesn't take you to the promised land this year, he's not an Eagle next year.
No, he's
definitely not an Eagle. He cannot have the same showing that he had in the playoffs from last year. That was despicable. If everybody remembers correctly, they started off very slow, and then they went on like a 7 or 8 game run. This team is playing really good football. They tried to choke it against the Detroit Lions, okay, in game 1. But this team has the capability of being the best team in the NFC, and it's not even close. That defensive line, they are getting after people with just they blitz less than 20% of the times on their snaps. I want you to look it up. That's how good this team is, and they're getting to the quarterback. If they get any kind of quarterback play from this team, they are going a long way, and that's bad news for Buck fans.
How surprised were you guys when we're on with Mark Mancini and the madman himself, Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports, and, of course, the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. I'm your host, Peter Blake, here live on Facebook, LinkedIn Live, YouTube, on I Love St. Pete, The Hub, Amped Up Sports. How surprised were you the other night with the effort by the San Francisco 49ers? I mean, you said it best, Mark. Basically, the 49ers, the Rams are their bitch. I mean, 7 straight wins in the regular season and in complete dominating fashion. Mark, I mean, that offensive line was really bad, and I don't even know if Matt Stafford is going to make it through the season if they're blocking like that.
Well, not only that, you brought up an interesting point that I wanted to take and run with it too, but props to you. Kansas City needed that win in Tampa more than Tampa, but how you beat the Chiefs is you got to pull the playbook out that you beat them in the Super Bowl and contain Mahomes and kept Kelsey in check. Well, that's the same thing that happens with the 49ers every time they play the Rams. They've exposed that Stafford to Cooper Kupp, that defense. I still think to this day, 3 weeks ago, Jalen Ramsey is somewhere in Stephon Diggs' back pocket because the Rams really are not a good team. They'll try to figure out, and keep a straight face on this thing. But, man, the 49ers have beaten this team like a drum, and McVay can't figure it out. And now it's a psychological thing.
Yeah,
you can win a Super Bowl, but when you have a team that owns you like they own the Rams, it becomes a psychological aspect of a lot of things.
And I'll tell you what, let's go out to you, Harry, because professional handicapper extraordinaire, where were you seeing that game playing out? Were you thinking that the 49ers were once again going to dominate the Rams? Were you surprised by that effort? And do the San Francisco 49ers not only have the best defense, but are in the best situation because they have a Jimmy Garoppolo at the controls once again instead of a Trey Lance?
Look, whenever you have that type of coaching staff that believes in running the football first to set up the pass, and you have Deebo Samuel, and you have a decent, mediocre running game, and it's set up by all that zone blocking, you're always going to be successful, and you're always going to be put in games. If that defense is mediocre at best, they're not going to be as successful, but they're not one of the best defenses in the NFL either. I think they just have their number. That's just my personal opinion. I don't believe that San Francisco is as good as what people think they are. And you can really, really, really do some damage to Frisco if you don't bite on their RPOs or their zone type of blocking schemes and you get pressure up the middle. That's when you give a Jimmy Garoppolo a ton of fits. That's what I've seen watching tapes on this team. And as far as the Kansas City Chiefs, when my boy Mr. Mancini was just talking, it's not the same playbook as what beat them in the playoffs. I'm sorry, in the Super Bowl, because if everybody remembers correctly, Kansas City was missing 3 of their top offensive linemen in that game.
Good point.
Two of them did not play, and one of them did play, and he was severely injured. And they forced Kelsey to sit back in there and go ahead and pass protect. I think everybody remembers that, but they don't remember the actual situation and what had happened. And that's why you're seeing Patrick Mahomes running for his life because, oh, go figure, a coaching staff that's stubborn, that believes that they have to continue to pass the football instead of running the ball. But I just want to throw that out there, but that's the reason why that happened.
All right. I got you piling on there once again, Mr. Harry. Knowledge. Let's go out to the bodyguard
A
here.
little zing in there for the Buccaneers.
We got the fatal 4-way going now.
I'm telling you, let's go out to Ralph Williams, the bodyguard of the Berg. What do you make of this Rams team and how potent Deebo Samuel was the other night on Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, the Rams.
Monday night, excuse me.
Well, the Rams seem like they're kind of falling apart a little bit there. As last year they were dominant. One other thing I wanted to point out to everybody, and you pretty much might know this already, they haven't done too much drafting over the years. Sean McVay's trying to sign all these free agents.
Right.
And, you need to start drafting and building up younger players with the salary cap and everything,
Hey, when is their next number 1 draft pick? Isn't that like in 8 years from now or something?
I think it may be, and then that's been Les Snead at this point.
There you go, Harry.
Mark out of there. I guess Mark is having some problems. So I'll tell you what, guys, I'm going to let there's Mark. Okay, so we'll get him back on there. I guess he was having some internet trouble. But should the Rams and Rams fans be concerned because of what Ralph just brought up there, Harry, with not having those draft picks? So basically you're forced to go with what you have. And could the Rams have what you've talked about all year long, a Super Bowl hangover?
They got a little bit of a hangover. They're still one of the better teams in the NFC. Trust me, they're going to be fighting for it. They're going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to make some noise. Matthew Stafford's still a premier quarterback in the National Football League. They're going to get it right. The running game hasn't been there. Cooper Kupp is still the best receiver in the National Football League, and it's not even close. Okay? It's just like, hold on, wait a minute. Deebo Samuels gets the ball how many times a game? And people are complaining about Cooper Kupp. Look, Allen Robinson hasn't found his footing in there yet. They still have a plethora of wide receivers. They got a good tight end, and they got a really, really good running game. When that defense figures it out, that offense will follow. But until that defense gets better and you give Jalen Ramsey a glass of milk, they'll be okay.
Well, okay. All right, let's go back out to these comments, and then we'll continue with you, Madman. Or actually, Madman, you want to say something, and then we'll get out to the comments.
Well, let me lay it down, Harry. You know I love you, but when you look at that defense, it's been torched from week 1 when Buffalo ran roughshod on them. Atlanta came back down 28-3. They stumbled around with the Cardinals, and then the 49ers just they threw a dumpster fire at them. So now you get the Cowboys, the Panthers, the Buccaneers, and the 49ers again, all in the next 4 weeks. Good luck with that. And we haven't even got to their December schedule when they'll get the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Broncos when those teams start to get it right.
Oh,
All
no,
right.
I agree with you. But, hey, since you want to go there, there's some teams that are pretty dangerous. How
Okay.
about the Chargers going to Cleveland, and the Chargers are the Chargers are 2.5-point favorites on the road. What have they done so far except get embarrassed by Jacksonville a couple of weeks ago? And then you got the Detroit Lions that are going to the New England Patriots, and New England's only favored by 3 points. Wait a minute. We're talking about the Detroit Lions, who were favored for the past 2 weeks prior to this. Then you get Philadelphia, who are only 5.5-point favorites on the road going to Arizona. I just anointed Philadelphia as the best team in the NFC. Isn't that correct?
You
Yeah.
did.
I
Yes.
did.
Yeah,
They
as of
lose,
right now.
and hold on, they lose this week. Does that make them not the best team in the NFC? No. You're not going to be perfect throughout the entire season. It's all about situations, especially from a handicapper's perspective. I mean, New York's going to Green Bay. Green Bay's only a 7.5-point favorite. Lay the wood on it, man. Trust me when I'm telling you, Green Bay's going to crush the Giants this week. Pittsburgh's going to Buffalo, and Buffalo's a 13.5-point favorite. I'm surprised it's not 20.
Mm.
Okay.
It was
point.
22, Harry.
I mean,
It was 22 points. It was.
I see it at 13.5. The Chicago Bears are getting 6.5 at Minnesota. I think if the Chicago Bears defense, now they're, how we call Jalen Ramsey toast? We can just call it a loaf of bread that's toasted in Chicago for their secondary. They haven't gone up against receivers like this that they're going to be facing, and it's going to be a long day. I mean, this is one of the best weeks in the National Football League this year to make some bets, and I'm so sorry I'm not going to have a show this week. I have to take off. I'm going up to the Northeast. I'm going to be up in Jersey here in a couple of days, and it's going to be a little tough.
I'll tell you what, we'll get back to your betting prowess here in a moment, Mr. Harry the Greek. I want to talk a little bit of wrestling real quick, and then we'll get you guys out of here because I'm kind of under a little bit of a curfew here. Don't want to wake the neighbors.
Hey, you got the shade going, man. Gillette. Look at
Hey,
you.
Peter, I got an idea.
Yes.
Don't give them the 3 things to do.
Oh, we can't do that anymore. We can't.
But I can do
it. We'll make some adjustments here in the next couple weeks. I can assure you. Let's go out to you.
I could see Peter doing this. Bring your passion.
Oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous. It really is. It really is ridiculous. All right, let's go out to the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini of XM Sirius Radio, former XPW announcer. Talk about the state of wrestling. What did you think about the CM Punk situation? How it's all played out?
Who?
AEW, WWE. Yes, Harry, I know you don't care about wrestling, but Mark,
I don't know who that is.
Shut up.
Well, I will tell you this, and I know Harry knows his wrestling too, just like us. But the interesting thing is, what the hell's going on with Sami Zayn? Every time you think he's being shown the door, he gets back let in the door. So that's really interesting, the whole Sami Zayn thing. And please, when you're going to introduce the Judgment Day, only give Rhea Ripley the mic. These other 3 can't even put words together.
They really can't. And, I don't know what I think about Dominic Mysterio turning on his father. I never like these type of gimmicks and storylines, Ralph. They try to do this with Ric Flair. They do this throughout. I just think it's so personal, but I understand why they're doing it. So in your opinion, do you like this storyline and what the Judgment Day is doing? Are they getting Dominic Mysterio over, in your opinion?
Well, I don't like the idea of Dominic being in there either. But the interesting thing is that they have been dominating on Raw lately. I mean, they've dominated Mysterio. They've dominated some other wrestlers, AJ Styles. They've tried to recruit AJ Styles. The Judgment Day does need somebody to speak, and I've said this many times on our Wrestle Talk show on Blog Talk Radio, that Finn Balor sounds like he's got marbles in his mouth, and so you can really understand what he says, and then his skills either. So the Judgment Day needs somebody like a Paul Heyman or somebody to speak like some of these other factions where the wrestlers don't talk at all and somebody speaks for them. That's what needs to happen in order for Judgment Day to work as far as speaking goes with the microphone. As far as their, and then we got Edge fighting Finn Balor in the Extreme Rules coming up this Saturday in an I Quit match. We're going to find out how that works. I mean, we're going to see what goes on there.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about going back to AEW and CM Punk, who, by the way, his initials stand for Chicago Man there, Harry. Just saying there's a lot of talk here, Mark, Madman, that they're going to let him go and buy him out. Is that smart by AEW to do that, or should they keep him around for all the heat, not only from the locker room, but for the fans.
Yeah, that's I don't like to see that, but I will tell you this. Please don't buy out Mandy Rose. I love Mandy Rose.
That's not what I asked you. You changed
I know. I know.
Sound like Smoking Jim.
Okay. All right. Ralph, really quick. They buy out CM Punk. Are you liking this idea by AEW?
Well, CM Punk has caused problems, like you said, in the locker room. Went after 3 vice VPs, and had a big scuttlebutt in the back room or in the back area. So, I mean, I don't blame AEW for doing this. He's not good in the locker room. He's not a very personal person across the board. And like a regular job, you say something to your boss or to the assistant bosses or whatever, and you do something, you get fired. So I think, but in this case, I'm glad they're going to buy out his contract. He can sit for another 7 years and then come back, maybe be a manager or a broadcaster or something after his money runs out.
Yeah, and I think he has a point, because he was talking about the guys that are in charge of the company, and one of those going in business for themselves. I'm trying to think of what his name is. I can't think of it right now. But he had some valid points. I mean, he's a veteran. He's trying to make as much money for AEW as possible, and of course himself. And then when he has somebody going into business for themselves, it doesn't necessarily work out. I tell you what, Mark, we got to cut this short tonight. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution.
Well, I'm so blessed. XM 203, Sirius 217, Liberty Bell Smack, WWDB AM 860 out of Philly. Finishing up this Friday, my second year with the Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, Wrestle Talk with Ralph Williams. I love this show. And by the way, since Harry is going to New Jersey, I should send you a couple boxes of Kleenex to give those Met fans at LaGuardia. It is going to be something come Sunday night, man.
All right, Ralph, go ahead and promote yourself, and then we'll get you out of here.
Yeah, you can catch my shows on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I have 3 shows Monday night, 7 p.m. The Way I See It, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Sports Corner. I'd like to have Harry on one of these days. And Wednesday, to Talking Wrestling, 7 p.m. I just had that show tonight with myself and Smoking Jim Frazier. And Thursday night, 8 p.m., Wrestle Talk, Blog Talk Radio, Mark Mancini, Clayton Trudor, Smoking Jim Frazier, and myself.
All right. Good stuff, Bodyguard. Thanks a lot for the time. We appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Peter.
All right.
Have a good night, Bodyguard.
Mark, thanks a lot. Appreciate you, as always, being on the Evolution. All right.
I love you guys, man.
See you later. There we go. We got all our tech figured out. I know you want to get out of here because we're about to wrap out of here, get out of here with some picks. But let's read these comments, and then we will get out of here. Maybe North America also. Roger Shue says Brady's head will not be in the game all year. Ben says, Harry, Peter's not a player. He just crushes a lot. Ben says, Harry is extra frisky this evening. Meow. Troy Palamayo, I want to see Peter on Maury. I want to see Peter on Maury, says Troy again. Okay. I've got
that comment from
shut up.
That's the comment because you had a kid in every county.
Right. Okay.
Peter,
yes.
You are the father.
Right, exactly. They made a song about that. True. Too. Also, Troy Palamayo, our offense is awful, but it could be worse, like Trey Lance or Justin Fields being our quarterback. Ouch, taking another stab at you there, Harry. Jeff says, stop being mad about the Sox. Jeff again. Harry, you are a better blocker. Roger Shue. Brady should listen to Beasley. Everyone, 1, 2, 3.
What?
Tim says, would rather see the Bucs bring Sue back than OBJ. Jeff, imagine if Brady played for the Bears. There was talk at one point. There was.
Yes,
Tim,
there was.
Do you think Giselle's next boyfriend gets an inferiority complex because he can't possibly be Tom? I'm not going to even answer that. Was that Miss Tabitha? Oh, my God, with her last night, Tom again. And like I said many times, Fields is a bust. He's getting a free pass from the liberal media. Let's not go into that. He's not getting a pass. He's just the Bears are not doing enough for Fields to succeed or be successful, Tom. Come on.
They're just not liberal with their money.
Oh, God. Not upset about seeing Cole Beasley retire. We're 0-2 with him on the roster. Tim says, what? Harry Peter is not a player.
What?
Troy, Harry loves talking wrestling. Jeff,
No.
Harry Berg is right. Bears have horrible quarterbacks. Dan says, yo, Berg, man, laugh out loud, go Fins. David says, Harry, the best ability is availability, and he has only played in one game. Alex says, I think we're missing JPP right now. He was our outside containment. Tryon was biting every time. Good point there. Roger says, Ralphus from the Berg, you better stop.
Shut up!
And Yvonne Gertz says, amen.
She says amen because she knows I have your social for the child support.
Okay, enough of you.
What?
Go ahead and promote yourself, but really quick, before you do that, give us some picks because you're not doing the over-under this week, and then we'll get you out of here.
Man, let me tell you something. There's some exciting games this weekend. Exciting games. You got the New York Giants at the Green Bay Packers. New York, they're in a lot of trouble. Danny Jones is practicing limited. Green Bay's only 7.5-point favorites. The total over and under is 41. I absolutely, really, really love Green. I can't even get that out because it hurts. Green Bay minus 7.5. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. I can't believe this game's only minus 13.5. Tread small because you never know when a team is going to go ahead and play a little bit better. I do like Buffalo there to cover the 13.5. Chicago, Minnesota, for those reasons, the secondary is going to be in a lot of trouble. It's a divisional game. You're never supposed to give up more than 5 points in a division game. But in this case, Chicago is probably going to go to 2-3, and they're going to get blown out here. Minus 6.5, take Minnesota. Here's my upset of the week. The Miami Dolphins are playing at the New York Jets. Yes, I just said that. The New York Jets. Guard your girlfriends and your mothers. Trust me, the Jets are coming. They're getting 4 points against the Miami Dolphins. Play them on the money line. Don't be afraid to go ahead and do that. They're going to get a really big return. If you wait till game time, you might get 2.5 to 1 on your money. Chargers are at the Cleveland Browns, the Deshaun Watson-less team, by the way. Play Cleveland on the money line. They're getting 2.5 points. That means they're an underdog. The Detroit Lions are getting 3 points at New England. Take Detroit in the points. Don't be afraid. Arizona is at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Arizona Cardinals are getting 5.5 points. Take the 5.5 points and also make a very small position with them to win the game outright without the points. I saved the best for last, folks.
Sure.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 8.5-point favorites at the Atlanta Falcons. The total points are 48.5. You ready? Take Atlanta plus the 8.5.
There you go, right there. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports. Thanks a lot for your time here on The Evolution, all right?
You can catch me anytime that Peter's on with the Sports Web. I am his co-host. Typically on a Sunday morning, I'm on 1252 Sports, and you can catch us at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, and you can always say hello to my buddy, and this is my good luck boy right here, and he's such a good boy. This is Inky.
Inky, all right, good stuff. Thanks a lot, Harry. Appreciate the time as always here on the Sports Web. All right, boss?
Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Good night, everybody.
All right, good night. There you go. Thanks to all of our guests, Mr. Mark Mancini, the madman himself, from former XPW announcer from Sirius XM Radio, of course, Ralph Williams, the bodyguard of the Berg, and of course the co-host right there, Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. We'll wrap it up here. We'll talk more here soon in the next couple of days. Just keep on tuning in to the Sports Web, the evolution of sports talk television. Like and follow I Love St. Pete, the hub and Amped Up Sports, and of course, like and follow the Sports Web on YouTube. 3 things: bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Have a great night.